This seems to be the end of the line for Wild Asia at Chessington World of Adventures. We've been quietly kind of getting on with the Scorpion Express news and, of course, Mexicana, which is going to be changing. We've looked at the plan with permission for that. We've shown it to you as well. And now we're changing over the 2025 season to open at the beginning of 2026. It was expected that Wild Asia would remain open for at least a few months leading up to summer, leading into summer, and then kind of early September before closing its doors, ready for reimagining for what we think will be the world of Minecraft coming in 2027. However, all notices, ride announcements, everything to do with Wild Asia has disappeared off the Chessington website. We've had very limited access to the top end of Chessington World of Adventures over the closed season, with that area not being used for the Winter's Tale, which it has done in the past, even with the Dodgems open, or indeed the cookie walkthrough they had. That wasn't there this year, and although we could get fairly close, it did look like the Monkey Swinger was still in situ. Now, we say this because generally it is taken down and it is completely collapsed, if you will, during the closed season for maintenance. So it is a bit of an odd one, I guess, when you look back, that it was still standing. But everything on it has disappeared. Now, this hasn't brought forward the timeline for the new attraction, which isn't due to open until 2027, as stated in the plans. However, it does mean that we will be missing some rides and potentially experiences, although we don't quite know, for 2025. In that, we mean the Monkey Swinger, Tuk Tuk Terminal, and of course Cobra. Now, we know Cobra will need to go back to Zamperla, probably be refurbished and as well given its new theme. The Monkey Swinger is still unknown. It's believed it is wanted to be kept at Chessington or within the Merlin estate, especially if they spent a lot of money on it recently, having it refurbished. And again, the Dodgems as well, they would fit quite nicely at another Merlin park, i.e. Alton Towers, which are struggling for flat rides. Nothing has been confirmed with that, but it does look like we will be certainly without Cobra for at least 2 years. Now, we knew Temple of Mayhem had closed. The park sadly gave up with that last season, and it's not going to be coming back again this season. Of course, the lorikeets do sit behind it, and the lorikeets are due to be relocated into the Safari area, which has remained on the park listings for 2025, which would imply that that area will reopen, indeed the ride as well. And of course, this is where things were going to be starting to be moved to, but obviously we have construction now starting in Mexicana. You'll see that shortly with the removal of Scorpion Express. So we do need the zoo moved, the children's zoo moved, and also the lorikeets moved up to the top end. So it'll be really interesting to see what that looks like when we reopen in 2025, and indeed what we can see. Now, given projects in the past and the fact this area closed obviously in November, we are looking at nearly 2.5 years for this new area to come to life, which does seem quite a long time. I appreciate they're going to pretty much flatten it like they are Mexicana, and they have got quite a big building to build, but it still seems quite a long time. Not entirely sure, of course, what work has been done already. Now, my guess would be that all the parks are cutting cloth this year. It's not just Merlin. I know Merlin are getting a lot of hammering for it, but it's not just Merlin. So you have to think, if we're looking to close rides and maybe not have ones on rotation, like Rattlesnake was last year, or even Tiger Rock, is this the best way of doing it, closing these rides and having them closed for the extra 5 or 6 months that they would have been open to save a bit of money? That would be my guess, to be honest with you, but we have to look at this in perspective. All the parks are cutting down, which is, we all are cutting at the moment. And of course, we have massive investment coming to Chessington World of Adventures over the next 2 years. Investment that, quite frankly, I don't think many of us thought would come, particularly after the world of Jumanji. But what are your thoughts? Wild Asia looks set to now be closed. Now, I know what many people will be thinking, because we hear it all the time. Why don't they tell us? Why don't they let us get our last rides in? I will just say, and I'll say this, we focus on the Merlin closures as well. Sometimes parks just don't know.